Nevada Athletic Commission gives Dennis Bazookia a temporary suspension for striking a fan while heading back to the locker room after cornering Aljamain Sterling at UFC 310. The fan got into it with Marab, so Bazookia stepped in. It escalated quickly. The two ended up exchanging strikes. A final decision will be made by the commission at a future meeting where the terms of resolution will be addressed. Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze officially announced by the promotion, number 7 and number 12 in the middleweight division. Rematch. Vettori won the first fight via decision. He thought he was fighting Roman Kopylov. He's fighting Roman Dolidze, March 15. Logan Paul and Jake Paul, March 27th on Max. The moment you've waited a decade for. March 27th on Max. I don't know if they're fighting, but they're doing something. Dylan Dennis knows all. This isn't a fight. They're just pretending to build up hype. Probably either some bullshit reality TV show or documentary. Mark my words. Ariel Helwani alludes that this won't be a boxing match.
I know what's being talked about and what's being announced, but I'm not quite in the position to discuss it now.
I think we can all decipher that it isn't a fight. There's no information on where it would take place. Like, you're just going to drop a poster and that's how we're going to announce that.
You laid it out perfectly there. You laid it out perfectly there, Connor.
Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg in the works for UFC Mexico on March 29th. That would be the big news that Steve Erceg was talking about. He was supposed to be fighting Asu Almabayev on March 1st, but that fight apparently is not happening. Asu is able to fight, but I guess they have different plans for Steve Erceg. Rankings-wise, it's a step down for Brandon Moreno because he's ranked number 2, and Steve Erceg is ranked number 9. Brandon Moreno's coming off a big win over Amir Albazi, winning a clear-cut unanimous decision in November in the main event of that Edmonton card, and Steve Erceg is coming off a KO loss to Kai Kara France. They're giving him good opportunities, though. He got a title shot when he was ranked around number 10, and now as a number 9 guy, they're giving him a chance against the number 2 guy in Moreno. Muhammad Naimov, a 2.6-1 favorite over Khan Offley on Saturday. Open workouts Wednesday, Power Slap Thursday, Athlete Q&A Friday, UFC Fight Night, Adesanya versus Imavov on Saturday. It's 7 to 9 hours earlier than normal, though, the start time. Prelims start at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The main card starts at noon Eastern Time. All these fighters that have just been removed from the UFC roster have been signed with the GFL. Josephine Knudsen, Tony Ferguson, Alexander Gustafsson, and Chris Weidman, who retired and then 7 days later signed with the GFL. Surprisingly, not yet Clay Guida has signed with the GFL. Weidman says he's getting a decent amount of money to fight in the GFL. He didn't look good in his last fight with Eric Anders. It was kind of an extremely one-sided fight that ended with a TKO victory for Anders. But if Weidman fights washed guys in the GFL, maybe it'll be okay for him. Some of the matchups the GFL commissioner talks about doing: Weidman versus Rockhold Part 2, Barao versus Faber Part 2, and Dennis versus Ferguson. Ferguson is a shell of his former self, but that shell may still be good enough to beat someone like Dennis. They're going to do some pay-per-view shows, but their plan is to do shows on Sunday and Monday, so 2 shows on Sundays and 1 on Mondays. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller probably happening next in April. 16-year age gap between the two. Miller still solid and dangerous in all aspects of the game, and Chase Hooper's developing in all aspects too. His striking has come a long way, much more dangerous in that area, and his grappling has always been good, and it's even getting more refined. David Feldman says they're working on Robbie Lawler versus Mike Perry in BKFC. That'd be a pretty crazy fight, Robbie Lawler in BKFC. Official poster for UFC Vegas 102, Cannonier versus Rodriguez, February 15th. Chance for Rodriguez to break into the rankings if he can win against number 8 ranked Cannonier. Cannonier's 40 with a record of 17-8. Had a tough 2024 though, lost to Bahayo, and he also lost to Imavov. He's known for his knockout power. His strategy may be managing his energy over 5 rounds and looking for some opportunities to land those heavy strikes. Rodriguez is 8 years younger at 32 with a 16-5 record on a 3-fight winning streak. He has a really aggressive striking style that could leave him open to counter strikes or could end up getting him the knockout. We'll see how that dynamic plays out. Big opportunity for Rodriguez. Big step up in competition for him. For Cannonier, he's fought the best of the best already. Here's the chance though for Rodriguez to test himself against the top 10. A lot of the middleweights have fights coming up in February and March. Strickland is fighting in a week and a half against Dricus du Plessis for the title. Adesanya is fighting Saturday against Imavov in the main event of UFC Riyadh. Hamzat will probably take on the winner of DDP versus Strickland. Whitaker needs a fight. Ohio also needs a fight, so maybe he can fight Whitaker. Vettori is going to be fighting Roman Dolidze on March 15th. Cannonier is fighting February 15th against Rodriguez. Brendan Allen's fighting a week after that, February 22nd in Seattle against Anthony Hernandez. Number 14, Shara Bullet Magomedov is fighting Saturday against Michael Venom Page. Number 11, number 13, and 15 all need fights. Paulo Costa, Jack Hermanson, and Michelle Pereira. Costa could take on Hermanson or Pereira, or Hermanson could take on Pereira. Poster for Beterbiev versus Bivol 2. The Last Crescendo, the rematch, February 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The first fight was also in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia in October. One judge had it scored as a draw. Two of the judges gave it to Beterbiev. Rampage Jackson says, if I was a materialistic person, I'd be mad. I'm only upset because I copped some Lexani rims a few days ago and got the new wrap done. Heads up to the guys that stole her. I'm a child of the Most High. Everyone that screws me over gets bad karma. You hear that, Kevin Holland? Stipe wants to save the Cleveland State Wrestling Program. They're cutting that wrestling program. He's an alumni of that program, Cleveland State University Wrestling. Sick to my stomach and heartbroken for these young men and coaches. One of the oldest sports at Cleveland State University. Wrestling is being cut. As a former wrestler at CSU, this program was a huge chapter in my life and shaped me into the person I am today. Always cherish what it gave to me. My heart goes out to everyone affected by this decision. I hope there's still time to make a difference and save this incredible program. Noah Cutter didn't get paid for his karate combat fight in December. It's been over 40 days.
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody that reached out yesterday. I got dozens and dozens of DMs from fighters and coaches and fans and people that work in the business. Majority of them all saying the same thing. How is that allowed to happen? That shouldn't be allowed to happen. That's a breach of contract. I've had fighters reach out and say they know fighters that they did the same thing to. So this isn't a first time thing or just me. This has happened before in the past, and nothing changes if nothing changes. And you know, even though we're fighters, sometimes we're more quiet than we should be about things, and we think we owe someone something so that we should be quiet about things. But you know, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And the more that this is allowed to happen, if people don't know about it, the more that it'll continue to happen. So thank you to everyone who reached out yesterday. Thank you to everybody that shows me support. And I appreciate your support. And yeah, thank you.